Breaking right now, level 3 go now evacuations are in place for a wildfire burning near Medical Lake. The entire city of Medical Lake needs to leave now, along with the entire area of Four Lakes.
At this point, we know that multiple structures have burned. It's still unclear if they are primary homes or shops or what, but this fire is not under control at this hour. According to DNR, that fire has burned at least 3,000 acres and it is spreading quickly. So right now you're looking at the latest evacuation boundaries in and around the city limits of Medical Lake. If you are in that area, you need to leave right now. And keep in mind, there are also multiple road closures, and that includes I-90 closed right now in both directions at US 2, which means you cannot take that exit to get to the airport. It is closed all the way to Tyler. There is a detour also in place right now on State Route 904 for evacuations. We are bringing you complete team coverage tonight. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legou tracking conditions outside. Amanda Rowley at the evacuation center that has been set up at Cheney High School.
Tim Pham is tracking reaction pouring in on social media, and Kyle Simchuk is live on the scene tonight. First, though, just moments ago, several officials held a press conference updating us on the fire. Let's take a listen in.
What's the latest information on this fire?
So right now we have 3,000 acres approximately, and that's just a good guess at our house or from us right now. 0% containment. The winds are keeping everything moving. We have 0% containment. So if you guys get a chance, please evacuation, follow the Spokane County Emergency Management website, and if it says level 3, please leave your house.
Have evacuations expanded in the last 20-25 minutes or so?
I'm not sure.
Have you had any fatalities, any serious injuries?
No fatalities, no serious injuries that I know of at this time. There have been structures lost, but I do not know what type or where they're at.
Sheriff, can you talk about evacuation measures on your end? We saw a tweet saying that Air One's been taken off. Can you just speak to the evacuation measures and how your agency's responding right now?
So we have evacuation orders for all of Medical Lake into the Four Lakes area right now. What I'm asking the public to do is please acknowledge those evacuation orders. Please adhere to them. We have a lot of crews in there fighting these fires, hundreds of personnel in there, a lot of equipment. And when people are inside those evacuation areas moving around, they hamper our efforts to fight these fires and to keep people safe. We've had people who have disregarded the evacuation orders, decided to stay in place, not believing that this fire would threaten them, and then we've had to go rescue them with our air resources, and that endangers fire personnel, it endangers law enforcement personnel. Please, if you're in an evacuation area, a level 3 evacuation area, leave. And please don't try to come back in. That is creating traffic in the areas surrounding it, making it very difficult for us to move fire apparatus and law enforcement vehicles around inside the area. I cannot restate enough. If you're in a level 3 area, leave.
And so you all were in Medical Lake today. What was it like when the fire started coming towards the city?
I think it was surprising. I think Mr. Weathers saw the fire first. I was coming in from out of town, but it was just surprising how fast it moved, how quickly we moved into an evacuation status. And people were a little bit bewildered, like, is this really serious? And it was serious quickly, but I want to give my appreciation to the county and City of Spokane, Airway Heights, Cheney, everybody who's just immediately came on board to help us fight this fire. So appreciative. My heart and my prayers go out to, of course, my friends and family in Medical Lake. But I can only reiterate what the sheriff said. Please leave. Everybody in the city of Medical Lake, you should be leaving now. Don't wait and try to decide for yourself, because the winds are so fast, you may not have time. So please make plans to leave. And there's also buses at the Medical Lake High School. You can call 911 if you need help and you don't know how to get to the high school to get a ride. There is a shelter set up at Cheney High School, which is where you'll be bused to, or you can just go there yourself. And you can also take your small animals with you there. If you have large animals, if you're on the perimeter of the city, you can call 911, and then the command center will help, navigate a way for your animals to get to safety. But just please plan to leave now. And everybody's working hard. We're doing everything we can to save, property and people. So please help us in the effort.
I don't know if this will be for you, Sheriff, or Mr. Keller, but we've potentially got reports of the fire jumping I-90. Is that something that you know of at this time? And if that does happen, what's the protocol? What's the, is that unprecedented, and just kind of going from there?
I'm not aware that the fire jumped I-90, but if it does, please, again, the evacuations will go into the same effect as we have now, and we'll increase the area around. So please, if the fire's coming towards you, leave. We can replace property, we can't replace people.
As people are watching the fire, spread, potentially jump I-90, what should people who think they might be in the fire's path be doing to prepare right now?
So right now, they should be getting ready. I mean, it's a level 2 all the way to 4 Lakes that I saw last. So please get ready to go, so that when we hit that level 3 evacuation, you can go quickly, because we don't want, as the sheriff said, we don't want folks in there. It hampers firefighting effort, it hampers everything, and endangers people.
Obviously, we're experiencing some of the wind right here. It's been swirling over the last couple minutes since we've been here. Can you just speak to the conditions that crews on the fire line are having to deal with right now?
Right now, they're battling the winds. We put in lines, and it jumps our lines. We have aircraft that are flying in this, and it's very hard. Not sure about the being able to scoop on the lakes or anything right now, because these crosswinds are very hard. So aerial resources are limited, as well as it's just fire moves when the wind blows. So yeah, until the wind dies down, the fire's going to keep going probably.
Sheriff, you mentioned that Eastern State Hospital was in the process of being evacuated. Can you kind of speak to what that process is going to be like for moving those people?
So in the command center, they are the ones dealing with the evacuation. I'm certain they've had plans. I cannot tell you exactly what their plan is or where they're going. I know we sent resources up to Eastern State to assist with that. And again, I think they're being very, very cautious about how they're doing that. But again, they have plans for these kinds of eventualities. And when we start talking about preparing to move, when you receive the level 2 notification, people in their homes need to decide what they absolutely need to have a plan on where they're going to go and how they're going to get there. Know the best roads to take to leave an area away from the fire. And again, have respect for the fire that is burning right now. It moves very quick. It is very dangerous.
We did, this is just in from the station in my ear, a spokesperson for WSDOT just said that it did jump I-90, unclear of where it has at this point, but how does that change the response at this point? I know, and we'll let you guys go so you can work on some information at this point in planning.
If it has jumped I-90, we will of course try and hit the head of the fire, but please be careful and look for the evacuations and get out of the way of the fire. It's moving right now.
And just one last one for either of you guys. As you look behind you and you see just this plume of smoke in a town that you guys both care about very, very much, just what does that kind of do to you, and how does it how are you processing what's going on here today?
Well, it's devastating, of course, and these are our friends, these are our family, this is our community. So I think right now it's just seriously addressing the threat, and let's be serious about it. Let's support one another, help each other. If you know family members or friends or neighbors or whatever that need help, help them, and then get out as quickly as you can. And I'll let Sonny speak to as the administrator how he's doing.
So this, all of it from the very beginning, has been very rapidly developing. It's devastating to think about the reality that we face, but we're so grateful for the help that we have, the professionals that are in charge, the incident command system that's in place, well versed in coordinating the assets and everything that's required. We just ask that you comply with their requests, and that if you need information, reach out to authorities. Look at the Spokane County Emergency Management website. Stick with the facts. As this rapidly develops, rumor mills don't help. And it just really makes it a lot harder to get to the bottom of things. Spokane County Emergency Management website will have all the updates that you need, and the Incident Command System is doing a fantastic job of dealing with the issues.
You're just listening to a press conference with city and county officials talking about the gray fire burning in Medical Lake, 3,000 acres in size. Several structures they have confirmed have burned. They're not sure yet if those are primary homes or perhaps outbuildings. Wanted to touch on one more thing, the closure of I-90. I-90 is closed in both directions right now at US 2, which means you can't take that exit to get to the airport, and is closed all the way to Tyler. There is a detour in place, and that is State Route 904.
And again, this is a rapidly developing situation. The fire is changing directions. We want to take you live straight to Medical Lake right now. Kyle Simchuk has more on what we know at this hour. Kyle.
Well, yeah, Whitney, and we have actually moved just east of Medical Lake. This is where helicopters are really focusing their fight at this moment. We're at East Lake Street and Keene Lane, and I just want to step aside and show you just how hard these firefighters are working. When we got here, we saw flames, no fire trucks, but they pulled up just in the nick of time and have been putting water on this structure, this shop. There's a house here. Don't know if all of these cars are okay. Those flames were burning pretty close to them. But certainly firefighters are just going anywhere they can to try to save as many homes as possible. Luckily, there's a fire hydrant here right next by, so I think this fire truck is actually going to refill. Across the street here, we spoke to a woman. Her friend is out of town, lives here. She apparently knew where the keys were, so her friend asked her just to get her cars and move them, so she came, took care of that, and then they left. And we're probably actually going to have to move as well, because as you can see, smoke continuing to push here to the east. And we actually have a helicopter coming in right now. If we can get a shot of this helicopter about to dump some water. There is another home on the right here, but you can see just how close we are to some of these helicopters. And this is, again, really where they're sort of focusing the fight right now. They've moved just a little bit east of Medical Lake, still filling up in Medical Lake, but focusing their efforts here. Of course, we heard in that press conference, this fire has grown to 3,000 acres, and it just keeps continuing to grow, pushing east. Mark and Whitney.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. We want to now take you to the evacuation center that has been set up at Cheney High School. Thousands of people under those level 3 evacuations right now. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley is at the scene there right now.
Amanda, give us an update. How many folks are there at the evacuation center, and what do people need to know as they arrive there?
Yeah, so we've seen a steady stream of people since this afternoon coming here to the evacuation center. I would say upwards of maybe 40 people. I need to double check on that, but it's been a constant flow of people. Now, I would just want to point out that we are just in the shadow where we are at Cheney High School. We're just in the shadow of the smoke coming from Medical Lake. Despite that, though, this is a safe place to come. That's the number one thing that you need to know if you're coming, you're evacuating from the area and getting to a safe space. This is it, Cheney High School. When you get here, there is an allowance of pets. You have snacks, water, and also other resources here. We have seen a lot of pets and people literally bringing arms full of their belongings in with them. When I first arrived here, a young man was helping his grandmother into the building. She only had the clothes on her back, medication, and her cat. Now, as I mentioned, there's volunteers here in the community from the community of Cheney. They've also been bringing in water and snacks. The Red Cross says they have coffee and water, as well as a nurse and mental health volunteer here on site. Now, I also spoke with a Medical Lake family who say they saw the flames of that fire just down the street from their apartment complex when they got the level 3 evacuation alert. Now, listen to this. Trina and her father Rick described for me their terrifying escape.
You could walk out on the street and look down the street and we could see the flames. And that was right before we went to a level 3.
And I was in the car when we were trying to get out. We're like back-to-back cars because everybody's trying to leave, and you could hear things behind us just blowing up. And
right after that,
doesn't help your nerves any.
Now, Rick says they are glad he and his family all got out safe with their dog Coco. You can see there she's a little nervous here at the evacuation center, but keeping close to mom and dad. That said, as I mentioned, pets are welcome here. There are temporary cardboard crates that will be available, but also try to bring leashes for those pets if you can. Now, as this wildfire situation develops, the Red Cross is staying in close contact, they tell me, with the Spokane County Emergency Management management. They're going to be sharing any updates they receive with the people who have evacuated their area to this location, sharing those updates regularly. Reporting in Cheney, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you very much. And also just into our newsroom here within the last 2 minutes, we have learned that there are now level 1 evacuations in place for the entire town of Cheney. And that is because the wind is the direction that it is blowing has changed.
Yeah, for more on that, let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. Jeremy, of course, the big factor today is the wind. It's been pretty strong all day long, which is, of course, fanning these flames.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a very windy afternoon, and as wind starts to shift directions, it is eventually going to weaken, but there is a narrow window in there where wind shifts from westerly to northerly and stays strong. The town of Cheney sits just south of where a lot of that fire has been burning, and as Whitney just mentioned, level 1 evacuations now in place for the entire town of Cheney. That is as wind shifts direction. Right now, wind is out of the west, gusting to 30 miles per hour. Our relative humidity is down to about 15%, or actually, 7% in this area. So very, very, very dry atmosphere. Wind has stayed strong. Sustained winds, your 2-minute average wind speed still over 20 miles per hour out of the west. That is the gray fire there in Medical Lake. We're going to move now off to the north. The north is going to tell us what's coming. There is another fire burning up near Elk. That fire is starting to already see that shift in wind direction. Wind was out of the west. Look over on the, say, far left-hand side of your screen. Let me get my arrow. Look at this region right here. See this? That is more smoke moving in, but that's from Canada. We're seeing that northerly wind kick in. Already up in Deer Park, the wind has shifted from westerly to northerly. We now know that that wind is going to blow toward us. That is going to eventually change the direction that the fire is moving there out near Medical Lake. Look, you can see this boundary of wind right there. That is the wind coming south. It will continue to move south over, say, the next couple of hours. I think the next few hours is critical. Wind is going to stay strong for the next hour as it shifts. Once wind shifts direction, our wind gusts will fall from near 30 miles per hour down to 25, and then by, say, an hour and a half from now, down to about 15 miles per hour. That is big. But that narrow window where wind is shifting direction and moving is going to move the fire in a different direction. We are still under red flag warnings. It is still hot. It is still exceptionally dry, and it is still very windy. It likely stays that way through about, say, 7:30, 8 o'clock, but our red flag warnings remain in place through 9 p.m. Those red flag warnings are for how dangerous the fire weather is. You can see all of the smoke from all of the fires burning around us. This is a satellite image from about an hour ago. Here's that line we talked about right there. That's the line that is now down near Elk and Deer Park. That line is what is going to turn and move that fire to the south, and the reason we now have those level 1 evacuations in effect for Cheney, Washington. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that and bring you the latest as we have it.
Fingers crossed for less wind. Jeremy, thank you very much. We are continuing to track this breaking news coverage of the fast-moving wildfire burning in Medical Lake. Again, level 3 means leave now. Those are in place for the entire city of Medical Lake. If you are in Medical Lake, you need to leave now.
This is affecting thousands and thousands of people tonight. We've got our Tim Pham here now in the studio tracking reaction to all of this on social media, joining us here with what people are saying out there tonight. Tim?
Yeah, Whitney, perhaps one of the biggest thing is obviously the road closures on I-90 right now. My friend Julie sent me this video here. This is on Thorpe Road here. This is one of the only ways to get to the airport right now. If you're coming from the south, if you're coming from the north, you might want to use the back roads through Airway Heights to get to the airport. You can see a lot of smoke there. This road is open for now, but again, things are rapidly changing. I want to get to this next photo here. This is from the Washington National Guard, the National Guard at Eastern State Hospital to help evacuate patients and staff out of the building. You can see they are carrying boxes with them as well. This, of course, is a big deal, and it's quite the process to get all those patients out to safety. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then in these last two photos I want to show you, this is a good vantage point so you can get a better picture of I-90 and where the closures are affected. So again, this is where it veers off to US 2 when you're trying to get to the airport. So it does look like they're letting people exit off that way, but they're quickly detouring people off. So again, this is at the US 2 interchange. It begins at 257 on I-90 eastbound. So if you're coming from the west right now, you're being diverted off at 257 onto 904. So we're going to keep a close eye on all of this, and we'll keep you updated. Mark, Whitney.
All right, Tim, thank you very much. What was started as a small cloud of smoke on the horizon quickly moved over much of Spokane today.
Yeah, one of the best viewpoints of that big growing cloud of smoke right now is on High Drive of Spokane South Hill. Take a look. We have KREM 2's Janelle Finch there tonight right now, and she says you can barely see anything as you look off toward the west right now. She also spoke to a lot of people who are watching that smoke move in.
We're feeling and smelling the smoke, and it's pretty bad.
The wind's blowing pretty good, and it doesn't take much. I was surprised at how spotty the fire was from where I turned onto Salnave Road at Lakeland Village. There was little pockets all the way into Medical Lake that were burning.
Well, now that smoke is starting to settle in, you should not go out to High Drive to watch that fire, according to officials. They say stay inside and stay safe.
Also now, again, as we just said, we have just gotten off the phone with DNR. They are telling us that the entire town of Cheney is now under those level 1 get ready evacuations.
According to the Department of Natural Resources, the fire has burned at least 3,000 acres and it is spreading quickly.